Don't lie to him. You're not great. You're never great. You haven't been great since you breathed, and you weren't great then either. Come on, let's go get something. You got like 3 willing donors here. You know they would. Come on.
You don't. I know you're afraid. I know what's coming for us. I know about the hunters. I know about all of that. You don't have to give up what you were, what the La Sombra were.
What do you know about what we were?
You were once powerful. You were once influential. You were once feared.
Do you think we were intelligent?
Some more than others, as it is with all clans.
Do you think we would have done what we did if we didn't understand the consequences and if we didn't have a plan?
I mean, the young rising up to overthrow the old.
We invented it.
Well, I think Ventru invented it.
Oh, did your clan destroy its founder? I don't think so, Ventru. Hunters come in many different shapes and sizes. Some of them are obvious. Some of them are very well camouflaged. But they all hunt. And elsewhere tonight in the city of Los Angeles, the hunt is most definitely on. What? You recall all the time we spent together. All those years. You know what I am, and you know what I will do. There is no way to describe the ecstasy that you felt. It's a sensation that exceeds all others in your experience. And if offered the opportunity to experience it again, you do not know if you could resist. The curse of the kindred means that every night is a balancing act upon a knife's point. Stray too far to either side, and you fall. But staying in place means you get cut. So, in such an existence, love may be the only hope one could possibly have for redemption. Is love possible among the damned?
Parser of lore, sipper of wine, maker of notes, and the unbeating heart of LA by night. Hello, 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 and welcome back, Vamily, to Masquerade Monday. Today I bring you the final profile video of the characters of LA by Night, the master storyteller himself, Jason Carl. We all have our favorite moments in LA by Night, favorite characters and interactions, but none of them would be possible without the guiding hand of the storyteller. Storytellers wear many hats, whether setting the scene of Elysium,
foothills of the Santa Monica Mountains, or where you find the Getty Center. The Getty Museum, commonly referred to as the Getty, is an enormous postmodern architectural wonder in gleaming white and glass, perched high atop one of the hills, overlooking the prestigious neighborhoods of Bel Air and Brentwood, just above the 405 freeway. Now, this is one of the most incredible collections of art in the Western Hemisphere. If there is a famous artist that you can think of, chances are that they have at least one piece in the Getty. The art collection contains pieces that date all the way back to the Middle Ages and from last week. As you approach the Getty in the car, you notice that there are armed security guards patrolling the grounds, the radios crackling, and many vehicles, a lot of limousines, a lot of very late model, very expensive luxury cars. Most of them with a driver waiting inside. And you notice as you drive into the parking lot and look around, from up here, you can see the entire city. This might be the best view in Los Angeles, better than the rooftop of the Grove parking garage. or even the observatory. It's as though the entire city is laid out before you like sparkling diamonds. Eventually, you are directed to a particular door to one of the larger buildings in the complex. And inside, everything is gleaming white marble, polished mahogany, and shining crystal. Massive chandeliers illuminate everything with dazzling light. Artfully placed and manicured plants liven up the interiors. But on the inside, there are no mortal staff anywhere. All you see are monsters like yourselves. The undead.
A disused church in Griffith Park.
And eventually, you pull into the gravel parking lot of a very small neighborhood church, St. Helena's. The church is old. It's built in Spanish colonial revival style, and right now, it looks deserted. The lights from your SUV show no signs of activity, but a lot of evidence of construction and renovation. This is a place where people are meant to come in the daylight. The spire and the false tower, those are meant to shine in the light of the sun, to show mere mortals the reflected glory of heaven. But they're just above the level of the streetlights now, and they're angled wrong so that they look like black spikes jutting heavenward. Even the masonry angels and the cherubs don't really seem right. In the darkness, their eyes seem to stare at you. Their mouths twist in the shadows. It's hard to say whether their expressions are of love or judgment.
Or my personal favorite, a labyrinth beneath Griffith Park.
There is, fortunately, not much of the sewers to get through before you reach what you've heard about, the Labyrinth. And it is every bit as awful as Nellie described to you.
Here we are.
It's all smooth stone construction, not natural tunnels, not excavated. How it got here, underneath Los Angeles, anybody's guess. But it is not right. It is in no way, by any stretch of imagination, right. There are yawning pits that go down into absolutely nothing. There are angles that when you walk on them, you think you should be walking up, but you actually walk down. There are walls that have shadows that move and twist until you look at them straight on, and then they're not there anymore. There are ceilings that act like walls and walls that act like ceilings. It's a tangled, gloomy, endless, bewildering maze of not right.
Or whether they are reminding the players of the ever-hungry parasitic beast.
The voice whispers in your mind, you can't keep this up forever. You should just go back to him.
No.
Just leave this miserable sod. Just go back to where you know you belong. You'll be fed. You'll get blood. I'll get blood. We'll get blood.
Stop.
Please. I've been good. Ooh, this is gonna be so cool.
Oh my
What a
god.
great night.
Far too much of you lately.
Oh, not enough. Not nearly enough. Is this the night we finally get to taste?
Who?
Who do you think? Come on.
I got enough of her the other night.
That was fantastic. I want more. Hey, it's the firebug. Let's eat her instead.
Preferable, but no.
Won't be long now. Just a little hungrier and you are mine.
or are pushing the story forward, few do it as masterfully as the storyteller for LA by Night, Jason Carl. So I would like to begin this video by talking about key settings in our Valerie coteries on life, and how the storyteller presents them to the terror or wonder of the players. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, although I have watched LA by Night a borderline ridiculous number of times, I will probably miss some of your favorite Jason moments, so please be sure to share these in the comments. One of the most iconic and important locations in LA by Night is Griffith Park. It is where the coterie first meets Eva.
Eva is tall and slender, and she has hair that is almost, it's so blonde it's almost white under the starlight. She's extraordinarily pale, like chalk, like bone. Even her lips are colorless. Her eyes, however, are a deep sapphire blue.
Where they are attacked and visited by ghosts.
Antonio snarls and then howls in pain. You can see blackness radiate from the point of the knife where it enters his chest across his semi-translucent body.
What claim do you
I will
have?
bring it all down.
What do you want? What claim do you have to the Labyrinth?
It's all mine. This is Feli's land. It always has been.
And what are you gonna do when you're in there?
Vampiros.
And where they rescue Nellie when she is staked by aforementioned ghosts.
The stake is perhaps at least 3 feet long. It looks like a piece of support timber that maybe broke away from the ceiling. She probably landed on it when she fell backwards through the hole. You don't think she is in torpor. You think that she is merely staked and therefore paralyzed and immobile. As horrible as it seems, she can probably see and hear everything going on around her, but she cannot move or respond. And she's been like this for 3 nights.
Jason does an amazing job portraying the vastness and wildness of Griffith Park. The park itself covers 4,310 acres, or for my European viewers, 1,740 hectares of land, making it one of the largest urban parks in North America, and features a number of popular attractions such as the Los Angeles Zoo, the Griffith Observatory, and the Hollywood Sign. Beneath Griffith Park, Jason pulls no punches when describing the Labyrinth.
These tunnels give way to something else entirely. Tunnels of smooth stone construction. Hard to say how old. And they're not right. Jasper leads you around yawning pits, pivoting floors, ramps that go nowhere, angles that look like they're acute when you first notice them, and then when you look back, they're obtuse.
See.
Stairs to nothing, weird intersections, tangled, gloomy, endless, maze-like. You can feel the wrongness of it.
The Labyrinth in LA by Night is still quite a mystery, but labyrinths are common in all the different aspects of the world of darkness. Labyrinths are the chantries of the Nefandi mages, built in the deep umbra, filled with twisted, terrifying angles in praise to entropy. There is the labyrinth that lies beneath the underworld and leads to oblivion, the constantly churning force of destruction and madness. And there is the Black Spiral Labyrinth that leads to the Worm and serves as the namesake of the Black Spiral Dancers, werewolves who turn to the service of the Worm. We as the audience know that a Nosferatu named Zelios built this particular labyrinth, which should come as no surprise due to the Master Mason's penchant for building these architectural wonders around ley lines around the world. Zelios is a character I'll be covering in their own dedicated lore video, so look out for that. In the less horrifying parts of LA, Jason takes great care to describe a place our coterie spends most of their time, Victor's Club the Maharaja and later the Maharani.
X, you pull into the parking lot, which is vacant. You'll recall that this neighborhood is a bit run down, and if you didn't know that Club Maharaja was a hot ticket, you probably wouldn't even notice it. But it is a hot underground club.
But even in this place of dancing, music, and pleasure, Jason allows the darkness to creep in.
You first become aware of the trouble when there is a terrible, awful sound. Awakening during a crisis requires humanity rolls.
Wake with evening's freshness.
Wake with evening's freshness. The ritual is enacted. So, Jasper,
Yeah.
you are wide awake. Your eyes flash open. You're not sure what you're aware of first. The vibration in the building, the floor and the walls, the heat rolling through the air, the shouting voices, or the smell of smoke.
Speaking of darkness, no matter where the characters are, hunger follows them, and Jason keeps that fact ever present in their minds as their beasts whisper in their heads, compelling them to bite, to feed, to allow their primal drives to turn them into monsters.
Good evening. Sometimes fast food doesn't cut it.
Is there more?
Later.
Now would be good.
It would be. You're right.
Such a jerk, X.
You're one to talk.
The blood tears that fall from Annabelle's eyes are scenting the room with vampire vitae. It takes everything you have not to give in to that taste, that smell, because you know what it is. Taste it.
I'm fine.
You know you want to. You saved her from me once, but you can't save her all the time. Your beast licks its fangs. Finally. No. It is an opportune time. You thirst?
I just fed. We're fine.
You know you crave a taste. You have craved him since you met him. He would give freely, were you to ask.
The beast is an innate predator that awakens within each and every vampire upon their embrace. It stands in direct opposition to a vampire's humanity and is responsible for many of the debased urges they feel on a nightly basis. In times of extreme distress, the beast can also overwhelm a vampire, forcing them into a state of pure animalistic fight or flight, which is referred to as frenzy or Rotschreck, German for red fear.
As the fire licks at your undead flesh, the pain is almost unimaginable. You don't remember the last time you were burned like this. It's been some time. Some almost forgotten fight. Some altercation long ago. As your flesh crisps and blackens, the red terror, the Rotschreck, rises, blooms in your mind like a red flower, smothering your thoughts, turning you away. You race down the stairway, away from the fire, away from the terror, away from the pain, headed for the exit as fast as you can go.
As I said, storytellers wear many hats, and setting an ominous scene or reminding the players of the beast isn't all that Jason does. Some of the greatest adversaries of LA by Night are portrayed masterfully by Jason. Whether it is the short-lived Sheriff Marco,
You are now at hunger 4. It feels as though some of your own vitae has been extinguished, snuffed out, burned away, leaving the beast in its place. Yeah, let it out, you know. To answer your question, I'm showing him who runs this place. And I'm showing Nellie the St. Elysium. And I'm showing you all that even if it goes down, in front of all these people, it'll get cleaned up as though it never happened.
The menacing Maximilian Strauss.
There's a murmur of laughter from the encircling kindred.
I turn and I look at them and I say, I wonder how many of your sires laughed before they met the fires, before they met the dawn.
Maximilian Strauss looks at His Majesty as if asking for permission to speak. I was there. You know nothing of what you speak. His Majesty is quite correct. Flaunting our safety with your insistence on using those devices can no longer be permitted.
Or my personal favorite, Aurora the Lasombra Scourge.
You don't care. You're in this to win it. This is a dance-off. She seems delighted. She smiles. You can feel the muscles in her arms and her legs moving to match yours. She shoves you too, begins to spin you. I'm going to enjoy drinking your blood until you're nothing but a husk.
The storyteller brings their villains to unlife, gives them many layers, multi-dimensions to their motives and convictions, and somehow Jason makes it enjoyable to watch the Valley coterie sweat. Well, if they still could anyway, and chafe under the constant threat of these antagonists. But of course, storyteller characters aren't always adversaries. Many of them are there to help the coterie to some degree or another, usually for their own reasons or ambitions, and Jason often takes this opportunity to do one of my favorite things, parse out lore and hint at upcoming events. Over the 4 seasons of LA by Night, Jason has dropped lore of the Ashira.
Have you heard of a faction of kindred who call themselves the Ashira? They're from another part of the world, far to the east, and they're old. They've been around longer than the Camarilla, I dare say. But relations have always been less than cordial. But with the times being what they are, and danger threatening all around, an accord has been reached, and the Camarilla and the Ashira form a pact.
Oh, it's a business contract.
Can you imagine Victoria Ash agreeing to be married for any other reason?
And the Lasombra joining the Camarilla.
The Lasombra are a clan of kindred, one of the 13 great clans, of which your own is one. They were at odds with much of the rest of the kindred at one point in time. And they and some other dissenters formed a completely different faction. You have heard of the Sabbat, but there has been a change of heart, shall we say. And more than a few Lasombra are seeking membership in the Camarilla. It is extraordinary. I never thought I would live to see this.
Whether this information comes from Baron Isaac Abrams, gorgeous Gary Golden, or my personal favorite, Fiorenza Savona.
Victor, my boy! I believe that there are those in the ivory tower who believe it desperately. I believe that the Gehenna scare of the last millennium was merely misguided. I believe that regardless of the truth, there are those who will use the prophecy to their own ends, and that includes the elimination of your new buffer.
I'd like to end this video by personally thanking all of you who have followed the series and my other LA by Night videos and my World of Darkness lore videos. So many of you have expressed to me how much you miss this incredible show, and I'm right there with you. In the times we're living in, We all want the comfort we find in the World of Darkness. But believe me when I say, the players on the show miss it as much or even more than we do. It is their story after all, and we are lucky enough to go along for the ride. LA by Night will return when it is safe to do so. So until then, let me know what you're looking forward to in Season 5. And if you enjoyed this video, consider hitting subscribe. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.